In this masterclass, I'm going to help you guys learn your trauma bond pattern and give you the subconscious analysis method that will give you the past, present, and future of your relationships. Hi, my name is Alex. I'm an instant healing hypnotherapist, and in this masterclass today, I have something really incredible for you guys. I'm going to help you guys learn how to subconsciously analyze your trauma bond pattern or your love attraction template so that you are able to understand who you are as a person and what works best for you in the relationship. And one of the best part about today's class is the method that I'm about to give you is so precise and it always works. It helps me read people's past, present, and future without even speaking a word to them. This is how powerful it is. And by the end of this particular class, you will also know how to look at someone without even speaking a word, just analyze how this person is at a subconscious level, what was their past, what's their present, and what's their future. And it's going to become really interesting. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, a paper, and a pen because I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to tell you guys certain details and the concepts that you need to follow to analyze your subconscious mind, and it's going to help you out. So let's get started. All right. So the first thing that we are going to focus on is we have to actually look at the ages of 1 to 9. Now, these ages are the foundational blocks that we need to understand anyone's life, even your own subconscious mind. Why? Now, the reason why this particular age group is really important is because this is when our subconscious mind is developing. And if it's developing, whatever it learns within this particular age group, that is what is going to keep happening in your future again and again. Now, if I have to know about a person, all I have to focus on is just look at the life that particular person spent between the ages of 1 to 9, and I can tell you their past, present, and future, and even I can predict what they're about to face in their relationship or in their anything, because this is when the foundational blocks of your personality are being developed. So what happens between these ages when your subconscious mind is developing? Now, what happens is that within this particular development period, your subconscious mind is developing your dominant thoughts, dominant beliefs, dominant emotions, dominant patterns, and dominant familiarity. So essentially what's happening is between these ages, you are being subconsciously programmed. And however you are being programmed is what's going to keep happening in your life again and again. So what happens is, whatever happens between the ages of 1 to 9 will create your subconscious familiarity. You're going to create so much familiarity with those circumstances, with those emotions, that your subconscious mind will seek only that in your future. So as a result of that, what happens is it keeps repeating in your life. It just keeps happening again and again, again and again, again and again. And the reason that it's happening again and again is this is what we call ripple effect. This is your pattern. This is your trauma bond. This is your love template. This is how you have been programmed to respond to your external environment. And this is how I can just look at someone's past and I can predict what's going to happen in their future, or what are the current relationship issues that this particular person might be going through. So let's dive deep into it. Now, once we have analyzed the ages of 1 to 9, the next step is your relationship with your parents. Now, this is something that I'm going to make really simple for you guys. So what do you have to do? Analyze your emotional relationship with your father and your mother and ask yourself, was the relationship good or bad? Now, how do you define good or bad, right? Now, there are two ways to look at it. Just reflect on your relationship with your parents between the ages of 1 to 9 and observe, what do you feel? Do you feel that this particular relationship was fulfilling or satisfying? If not, was it abusive, or was it like your parent was distant or absent? analyze for both the parents, and if it's fulfilling or satisfying, that means it was good. So you can mark it as good. All you have to do is just write the parent, like father or mother, and just write your relationship. Was it good? Or if it was abusive or the parent was distant or absent, you might as well write bad. Now, just write this on a piece of paper, because now we are diving deep into your subconscious mind. So let's continue. Now, here is a very good understanding of why the role of parents is really crucial in your subconscious love template. Now, to our subconscious mind, our parents are our creators. So by default, our subconscious mind thinks like, all right, so my creators are someone who are actually gods because they created me. So our subconscious mind understands our parents as our neurological gods. This is why any compliment from your parent or any criticism from your parent can have a long lasting effect on your subconscious mind and on your life. This is why the role of parents is really important. So now that we have identified which particular parent played what kind of role in our life, now let's see what are the traits that are associated with each of the parents. Now, so the traits that are developed due to father. Now, these are the traits we're talking about in really universal terms, and they apply to everyone. All right, so it's not like it's dependent on everyone's situation. It's a bit of a gender-based psychology. So you have to understand that the traits that are developed due to father are self-esteem, self-respect, self-worth, self-confidence, and sense of identity. Now, these 5 traits are a direct reflection of a father figure in your life, because these traits subconsciously are developed due to the presence of a father in your life, and we are going to uncover that. Now, let's look at the traits that are developed due to a mother. Now, the traits that are developed due to mother are expression of love, empathy, nurturing, spirituality, and creativity. Now, these are the traits that are associated with the mother. The role of a mother will define how you develop these traits into your subconscious mind. Now, the point is that we can say that the traits that are associated with the father figure can be said as masculine traits, and the traits that are associated with the mother figure, we can call them as feminine traits. All right, so this is what we need to understand. Unhealthy relationship with any parent creates excess or deficit in traits associated with that parent. So anytime you have a sort of a trauma or a wound that was incurred on your subconscious mind between the ages of 1 to 9 as a result of your parents, it's going to create a sort of excess or deficit within the traits that are associated with that parents. Now, the whole point that we need to understand is whether we're talking about the father figure or the mother figure, if your relationship wasn't great, what's going to happen is that the traits that are associated with that particular parent are not going to be balanced. The word is not balanced. So if they're not balanced, what's going to happen is either these particular traits would be excess inside your subconscious mind, or they might be in deficit. Now, if they are in excess or deficit is something we need to check, and that's going to provide us some further insight into your subconscious mind. So let's see what happens. Now we have to assess the excess or deficit associated with that particular masculine trait or feminine trait. So let's see. Now let's suppose we're talking about the masculine traits that is associated with the father figure, that are self-esteem, self-respect, self-worth, self-confidence, and sense of identity. And let's look at the feminine traits that are associated with the mother figure, which is expression of love, empathy, nurturing, spirituality, and creativity. Now what we have to do is we have to actually analyze something. You have to assess yourself to understand whether the masculine traits or the traits that are associated with the parent that you didn't have good relationship with, are they in excess or are they in deficit? Observe what people say about you? Do they say something like, you're really overconfident, you are, you know, you come off as too bold, or you think really highly of yourself, anything like that? That kind of shows that a person might have excess masculine energy. So, in case if you had any kind of father wound and your masculine traits are in excess, all you have to do is just write it on the piece of paper, excess masculine. Or let's suppose if we say that your relationship with your mother was great, you can write balanced feminine. Or if that was bad, deficit feminine. So we're going to use these terms, excess or balanced or deficit. Why? Because we're trying to identify the traits that are excess inside of you and the traits that are in deficit inside of you. And we're trying to understand your subconscious familiarity with these particular traits. And that's going to help us predict your future and what's happening in your relationship. Now, remember this, your subconscious love template is based on your familiarity with masculine plus feminine traits. Now, the combination that these traits make inside your subconscious mind is how you are wired to get attracted, or how you are wired to attract relationship into your life, or the sort of relationship that your subconscious mind will get you inside just to make sure that you are familiar with them. So it's going to keep happening again and again. So what's essentially happening is that we have to first of all understand that these two traits are really important, and we have to consider whether they are excess, deficit, or balance. And that gives us what I like to call this is your subconscious mind's secret key. And if you know someone's secret subconscious key, not only in relationships, you can understand this particular person in any dynamics, whether how they work, how they approach any situation, or anything like that. You just know it. This is their mind map, and this is your mind map. So what we're going to do is, now that we have your masculine traits and we have your feminine traits, what we are about to do now is we're going to check what each of the combinations. So we're just going to write down the combination that we have. So let's suppose if you have excess masculine or balanced feminine, all you have to write is excess masculine plus balanced feminine, or whatever your particular combination is. Just write down your combination like this, so that now I can help you guys read your pattern. Now you're going to be able to relate with how this particular subconscious love template will tell a lot about your personality, your relationships, and all the details that we can get into. So let's get started. So now I've made few patterns. All right, there can be more patterns, but right now I have made these 8 patterns. Now you might have one of these 8, and I am going to start explaining you guys what each of the pattern is going to do inside your life, what kind of relationship you are getting yourself into, and the sort of pattern that you have. Now remember one thing, if there was any kind of trauma with one of the parent, this also shows your trauma bond pattern. So let's get started. Now there are many interpretations that we can do with regards to any combination. So I have prepared some one-liners to give you an idea about what's the essence of this particular relationship. Now let's get started. Now, in case if you have excess masculine plus excess feminine, if that is your subconscious love template, you're gonna have most likely obsessive relationships that end chaotically. So it's quite excessive. If you see, things within these particular relationship are going to be really explosive, and there's going to be a lot of obsession with your partner, or either your partner is going to be really obsessed with you, but the ending of this relationship is always chaotic. There's going to be a lot of drama, a lot of abuse as well. Then let's move on to the second one, that is, what if you have excess masculine and deficit feminine? This combination, this is something that I have observed a lot of the people to have. And what this does is, you have to understand, if your feminine traits are in deficit, you cannot feel empathy, you cannot feel love, you cannot feel any kind of spirituality or any kind of nurturing traits it's in deficit, but your masculine traits, that is self-confidence, self-worth, self-esteem, sense of identity, now all these traits are in excess, which means this person is going to be a type of a person who's going to control their partner in relationship. So a classic narcissistic personality. This is the type of a person that you usually need to watch out for. If someone had, if someone has excess masculine and deficit feminine traits, best believe this person is going to play out as someone who's really controlling in relationships. And if you have that, you might observe that you might have felt that kind of insecurity inside, or the need to control your partner so that you are in charge of their life, and that makes you feel secure. Understand why narcissistic people do what they do, because they lack their self-esteem and they project it as overconfidence, over self-worth, and etc. etc. Now let's move on to the third one. If you have excess masculine plus balance feminine. Now the feminine side is balance, right? So your empathy, your nurturing side, your expression of love, that is balance. Now if that is balance, but however you have some kind of father wounds and you have excess masculine traits inside of you, what's going to happen is arrogance and personality related conflict. The sort of conflicts that you are going to have with your partner, or the reason that you face breakup within your relationship, is because that your partner might claim that you are too arrogant, you are too proudy, or maybe you are too self-absorbed, sort of like that. The relationships are going to end because of the conflicts that are associated with these particular topics. Because you have excess masculine, that means that you are overconfident or demanding respect, or sort of those kind of issues. All right, so let's go to the fourth one, which is if you have balanced masculine plus excess feminine. Now what's happening is you don't have a father wound, so you know who you are, you know your sense of identity, you know your self-worth, and it's quite balanced. However, you have excess feminine energy. You're overly emotional, you're overly attached to your partner, you might even become obsessive. So what's happening is, within this particular relationship pattern, what's going to happen is you're going to attract relationship where you are overly nurturing or emotional for your partner, and you come off as a really clingy person, and your partner might feel that that is very suffocating, or your partner might be someone who is really obsessed with you, or they nurture you a lot. So it can even happen in reverse, but that's going to be the dynamic of your relationship. So this is what happens if you have balanced masculine plus excess feminine. Now let's move on to the fifth one. The fifth one is you have a balanced masculine but a deficit feminine. You lack the ability to feel love, nurturing, or empathy, and since that is in deficit, what's happening is you're going to feel isolated in your relationship, or you might even feel like there's no spark in your relationship. That's because you can't feel emotions that great. So that is something that happens if you have a deficit feminine plus a balanced masculine. Now let's move on to the sixth one, that is deficit masculine plus excess feminine. Now this is also a really bad combination. Now what this actually makes you is sort of a simp. You might have no boundaries, because since you do not have much of self-respect, self-worth, self-confidence, sense of identity, you might also not have any boundaries. You would be willing to go and do whatever you want for your partner to get their validation, because you don't have that validation inside of you. And since you have excess feminine, you might be obsessively attached to your partner. So what does this kind of relationship pattern tell me? This kind of relationship pattern actually tells me that this particular person is highly likely to become a victim of narcissism, because since this particular person has no self-worth, no sense of self-confidence, this person is going to go and do whatever they can for their partner, and they are also obsessive. So this combination attracts narcissists a lot. I hope that's something that you guys can relate with, because a lot of the people have been through this kind of subconscious love template, so I can understand. Now, Let's go on to the seventh one. That is, if what if someone has deficit masculine and deficit feminine? Now, if the masculine traits and the feminine traits are in deficit, best believe this person is going to be really depressive, or the theme that revolves around your relationship or how relationships are going to break apart is because of mental health challenges or depression or any kind of conflict that has to do with depression, and that's going to be a big part of the relationship theme. So let's move on to the last one. Now let's observe if someone has deficit masculine but balanced feminine. Now these are the relationship that are going to be really long, and I had that sort of love template and I've been through that. So what happens is your relationships are quite long. All right, they're quite long because you are emotionally sustainable. So yes, the relationships are long. However, they are not fulfilling because you have a deficit masculine. You do not realize who you are. You have no sense or no boundaries, and that makes you be in a long relationship without even feeling satisfied. So if that is your subconscious love template, that's how your trauma bond is going to play out. Now let's come to the most important part. What are we looking for? We're looking for balanced masculine and balanced feminine. Anytime we go back into our subconscious mind and we heal our parent related wound, be it a father wound or a mother wound, the traits that are associated with that particular parent, that is masculine or feminine, they just become balanced. And as they become balanced and you become really familiar with the feeling of balanced traits, that's what you attract in your life. That's what happens. You change your pattern. You end the previous ripple effect and you create a new one. That's what healing does. We're trying to create familiarity with balanced masculine trait and balanced feminine trait. Now, that being said, one of the most important questions is if you have any kind of patterns that I just spoke about, let's talk about whether you are naturally attracted towards such partners or are you nurturing your partners. And there's a big difference. Let's dive into it. Now, nature implies that you might have a subconscious process where you are instinctively drawn to your subconscious love template. That means you get attracted towards people instinctively, and that is nature. So what happens if you have a nature mindset is your subconscious analyzes the person and determines familiar traits that are present in your subconscious love template to generate feeling. So anytime you come across a person that shows any kind of traits or behavior that are part of your subconscious love template, your subconscious mind will begin the attraction process even before you have had the chance to speak with this person. And that's how quick it is. So what's happening is you are naturally drawn towards such partners who exhibit behaviors that resembles your trauma bond or your subconscious love template. Now, there is another kind of mindset that we also need to look at before you can analyze what fits to you. Nurture. Now, if you have a nurture mindset, you instinctively follow your subconscious template. That means you're not naturally drawn towards such kind of partners. However, your subconscious recreates situations from your subconscious love template by behaving, responding, reacting, or displaying traits that nurtures your partner's subconscious to follow your subconscious love template. In simple words, you are subconsciously conditioning your partner to treat you precisely the way your subconscious love template is developed. And if there is any kind of trauma associated with your subconscious love template, you are going to nurture your partner into behaving like a partner so that your subconscious mind can relive the trauma, and that's what we call trauma bond. Now, all you have to do is ask yourself, the sort of partnerships you have had, the sort of relationships you have had. Ask yourself, within those relationship dynamics, what would other people say about your partner? Did they experience your partner in the same way as you have experienced your partner? And if the answer is yes, you're naturally drawn towards people. So that means that other people have experienced the similar traits from your partner. So that means that you get attracted towards a type of person. Remember that. Now, in case if you are someone who have had this nurture mindset, the way to assess that is see how your partner or your ex-partners used to behave with other people. If they were nice but they were nice to you, that means they were capable enough of treating someone nice. Your behavior or the way you have responded to them have conditioned them to treat you in that particular manner. That shows nurture. So it's really important to understand whether your subconscious template is nature driven or nurture driven. And that will give you further insight about your subconscious mind. Now, if you observe, these are the things that you can assess about a person without even talking. You can just assess if someone is really confident or how someone speaks to other people around them. And you can just assess whether this particular person has empathy, has confidence, has sense of identity, has nurturing capabilities, and you can assess all of that without even talking to a person. That means you also know what their subconscious love template is. And if you know what their subconscious love template is, you technically know what their past is and how their relationship with their mother and father was. Furthermore, you also know the sort of relationship pattern that this particular person is going to be associated with. That means you can also predict what kind of relationships this person is going to be attracted towards and how they are going to end. Pretty much you can tell everything about a person just by applying this subconscious analysis method. Now, here is something that you guys can actually do with this method. You have to identify your subconscious love template and understand why you have been conditioned to do that. Understanding the point of origin, that is between the ages of 1 to 9, like we studied, between the ages of 1 to 9 is really important. That's the foundational block of any kind of pattern. If I know someone's childhood between the ages of 1 to 9, I can tell each and everything about their life. It's so easy. So, comment down your understanding on this particular matter. What did you find about yourself? Does it resonate with you? And how was your experience in understanding how you have been subconsciously programmed? Now, if you guys would like to work with me to help you remove this trauma bond and learn the art of instant healing hypnosis, because remember, part 1 is to understand what your subconscious mind map is, or your subconscious love template is, or your trauma bond pattern is. Once we have identified the point of origin, it becomes really, really easy and quick to remove those particular traumas and restore your masculine or feminine traits so that you become really familiar with those kind of traits, and that's what you are trying. So the probability of you finding someone really great is like 100%. Let law of vibration work, let law of resonance work, and if that is something that you guys would love to learn more, you can sign up for my 15 days instant healing program, and the details are as follows. Hi, I am Axe, an instant healing hypnotherapist. I have developed a 15 days instant healing program. In these 15 days, I will teach you how to understand your subconscious mind map and patterns to identify your relationship blockages. Then using instant healing hypnosis, I will teach you how to instantly heal any toxic recurring patterns, trauma bond, depression, anxiety, PTSD, or any form of physical pain in less than 3 minutes. As a bonus, I will be giving you my special conversational hypnosis method that will make you an instant magnet for anyone in less than 1 minute. Book your free mini therapy session with me by clicking the link to my website in the description below, and let's discuss how we can completely transform your life.